welcome back to the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show right here in your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
And remember, our goal is always to guide you to personal and financial wellness. All right, well, as Don likes to say, although he's not with us today on the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show, this is the saddest part of our show because it's the last part of our show. But it's sometimes the most valuable piece of our show. Sometimes we get, in these last 10 minutes of the show, we get the golden nuggets, the pieces that you've been waiting for in order to hopefully help you make decisions as they relate to real estate. And today joining me, I have Gene Bleeker with First American Title, 34 years as #1 in title in Santa Clarita. And as we were discussing a little bit in the break is that you've seen some cycles, Gene. You've seen the top, the bottom, the top, the bottom. So you have and you get to speak to hundreds, and I mean hundreds of the top real estate agents like we saw at the State of the Union last week. That was the top 7 listing agents in our valley, but we also had the opportunity to talk to hundreds. So I wanted to talk a little bit about where you see this market today.
I think it's a tough market. I think it's a really hard market. If a seller prices their house right, and they're in that zone, they're going to sell their home the day it goes on the market, or if they do an even better job, if the agent promotes it before it even hits the multiple listing service, they're going to get it sold. I mean, that's just how this market is. If it's a little bit overpriced, or if it's extremely overpriced, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, so you did touch on something. Hold on, let me give somebody the cliff notes on what you just said.
Time out.
Okay, time out, because there's something you alluded to, which didn't necessarily people maybe didn't catch.
Okay.
If you're on Zillow and Redfin and all these other websites trying to find properties, 20 to 30% of the properties are, or if you ask Mike Bjorkman, who was at the event, he'll tell you 40% of the properties are negotiated before they ever go in the multiple listing service.
That is true.
So remember, you're in a market where pocket listings are super important. And
a pocket listing is a home that is promoted before it goes into the multiple listing service.
So let's talk a minute about the top 7 listing agents that were at this event, right?
Okay.
Because if you're looking for a pocket listing,
right,
a good place to start is with the top 7 listing agents in the valley, right? All right. So one of the, you've got a different dynamic that'll meet all of your needs. Like
Sure.
we said, if you're somebody that absolutely loves social media, that's cool to you, that's how you like to interact. Facebook Messenger is your favorite. Zach and Sherry. I mean, they've
done a really great job with social media and still are leaning forward into dominating that marketplace. I think they did a great job in talking about social media and what they're doing with social media to attract more clients and to create more value for their people. And then with the State of the Unions that I've been to and been involved with in the past, I mean, Neil Weichel has spoken at every one of them. I mean, he knows his numbers. He knows this business inside and out because he really crunches the numbers. He's always looking into that crystal ball to see where the market's going. And then, he graciously shares his opinions with the agents in the room of where he sees the market going, right?
He's the surgeon.
Right.
Right.
But he's been to every one of them. I mean, he's so great at what he does.
Not only that, but he also talks to the most amount of people. So one of the things that we talk about with Don is one of our distinct advantages is the amount of business that we do.
Yes.
The more transactions you do, the more situations you see, the more people you talk to, the more you learn and the better feel you have for the market. No one talks to more people than Neil. Neil is an absolute professional in this marketplace, and he's got a ton of pocket listings.
Absolutely.
Someone else I know has a ton of pocket listings is Mike Bjorkman.
Oh, gosh. And what a great job he did at the State of the Union. And his question to him is, where is he going to go in the 2018 marketplace? And what is he looking forward to do? And let me tell you, he scared a lot of people on how aggressive he and his company is going to be. He was very forthright on how he's going to approach the marketplace, and he let a lot of these real estate agents know that it's an aggressive approach to the business, and wow, he was phenomenal as well.
No, he's fantastic, and like I said, he's got a relationship with a property management company, so a lot of times sellers are coming to the marketplace. He knows 60 days before a listing is going to come on the market that there's a seller that wants to sell a property. That's a unique piece of data that he has.
Right, and I think concentrating on where you think the market's going and actually working on it, I think that's another reason why he's in the top 7 at this event. And I'll tell you, McGill Solar, what a great guy out of the Remax community. He talked about what's not changing in the marketplace, how he's still going after business, how he's still creating value to his sellers and to his buyers. And let me tell you, he got a raving applause from the audience because he did such a great job in sharing with the audience on what's not going to change in the marketplace.
Well, I love Miguel Solar's approach, right? Because
yeah.
he's the one I'm talking about. He's the handshake.
Right.
Right. To me, Miguel embodies the handshake, the people person responsible for putting people in homes, responsible before, after the transaction, and forever. Just your forever agent is Miguel Solar.
And you know what cracks me up is he and I talked after the State of the Union, and he asked me, Gene, how did I do? And I said, did you not hear the applause that you got? You were absolutely phenomenal, and he did such a wonderful job. And kudos to you, Miguel, because you really deserve a great handshake from me when I see you, because you did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, and I wanted to. Well, go ahead.
Sure. No, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to touch on, because that also reminded me a little bit of Dippy, right? And Dippy's somebody that I've known for quite some time, and maybe not as noisy in the marketplace as others. Maybe not someone who is flashy in the marketplace, but someone who loves to educate. And she definitely puts out a wonderful marketing book, Gene.
Dippy Digest,
yeah,
right?
When I get it, I'm super excited to look through it and see what happened. And you'd think that I'm always looking at stuff. I'm like, no, this is great information. This is part of the information that we disseminate here on the show.
Sure.
But what really stood out to me about what she said at the end of the day is she kind of told us a little bit about her beginnings in real estate and how hard it was and how she had to hustle, but how much she truly loves her job and how much she really spends when she's at work. That's not work for her.
Right.
Right. And it's, what do they say? If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Absolutely.
And I think that's Dippy for you.
And let me tell you, she talked about the philosophy of working hard and having good family life.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think she's done a great job in doing just that. So I loved her digest. I loved her presentation, and she was phenomenal. So let's talk about Paul. Paul Humphreys did a phenomenal job on connectivity, and that's something that you and Don are really great at, connecting people, getting involved with real estate agents. I think that is a good point that he brings to the table.
Yeah, I think that Paul also brought to it to remind everybody to work together. And I loved when he said, don't be adversarial. You know, being a good negotiator doesn't mean you need to be adversarial. You could defend your client's interest and do it in a professional manner, and do it in a manner that demands respect, and in a manner where you're going to have a legacy where people say, yeah, I like working with Paul. And in a tough market like this one is, it's very important that when you get an offer, if I'm a listing agent and I get 5 offers right now in the market, and I say, well, this guy's rude, this guy thinks he could boss me around, this is a consummate professional, we're going to take this offer.
Right. And he also is very keen on the idea it's okay to be nice to everybody. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean you're weak. To me, it makes you look a lot stronger when you have a good reputation and people want to follow you because you're so good at what you do. And he did a phenomenal job at that as well.
Yeah. Did we miss anybody, Gene? I don't want to miss anybody because we did great.
I think we've got them all.
Okay.
I mean, I got to talk on title, so I was happy about that, about our new tools and services that First American's putting together to make real estate life so much easier for real estate agents.
Yeah, so ultimately the reason we gave you a snapshot into this event is because we were blessed into seeing how the real estate professionals interact with you, what their goals are, and how they are helping you each and every day with your real estate goals. And ultimately, although each had a different approach, they all have the same goal, which is to guide you in and out of homes as you need them.
And I know it's a home run is when I get emails and calls from people saying, Gene, you did such a great job at this event. I am so glad you were a guest speaker. And I know the other people that spoke, Zach and Sherry, Neil, Mike, Miguel, Dippy, Paul, they all did such a great job at this event. I know they got kudos from the entire real estate nation because they really did deserve it.
Okay, so I promised real quick we were going to talk about where this market is. And I'll tell you in my 2-second snapshot is we're entering the momentum phase.
Okay.
We've got at least another 2 years of momentum just because we don't have any housing.
Right.
Particularly in Santa Clarita where people are still fleeing Los Angeles because they don't want the hustle and bustle of the city life. We're still the ultimate suburb. And I think that we are going to experience appreciation here for the next at least 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the good news. The bad news is when a seller sells, they got no place to go because there's not a large listing inventory, which is really sad. So you're seeing a lot of sellers making the decision to move out of state.
I was just going to touch on that, but you beat me to the punch. So we could probably do a whole other show on
we
people
could.
moving out of state to save on taxes, et cetera, et cetera. But thank you so much for joining me today, Gene. We've
Had
covered
so much fun.
We covered a million topics in just a short little bit of a time.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, for
Exhausted.
sure. All right. Well,
And
thank
you for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
You got it. And thank you for hanging out with us every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. To check out shows like this one, go to donandgino.com, go to our YouTube channel. There's over 2,000 shows on our YouTube channel right now. So thank you for spending some time with us, and we'll see you next Saturday.
You're like the next Netflix.